Hey there, and welcome to the UkeStuff channel, and welcome to this full UkeGuide review of this instrument. This is a white label Kamaka. They were made between 1969 and 2001. You really can't date them specifically in those years because they didn't put date stamps in those model years. This is a friend of mine's ukulele, and I'm actually going to be putting other tuners on for her, and I'm excited about that. And this is a wonderful, I don't know if I'd call it vintage, but older Kamaka, and it is just a wonderful, wonderful instrument. So what we're going to do is review this one. The current HF-2 models that Kamaka make would be a little different. And historically, the thing that sets the concerts apart not only is their larger body than a soprano, but also this headstock. A lot of people call it a Gumby headstock, but realistically, it is imitating the shape of some of the traditional Hawaiian canoe sails that they use. So that's what that headstock is all about. I still remember a time when I didn't like it, and this is now one of my dream ukuleles. So the dream is to go to Hawaii and buy one in person. We don't know how old the strings are on this one either, so as I swap out the tuners, I'm going to put on different strings, and that may change some of the things too. But it is just a lovely instrument, and what we're going to do in this video is, first of all, we're going to look at some subjective categories that we do with all instruments. Then second, we'll do the specifications, which I don't think have changed for current Kamakas. And then finally, I'll give it a summary with a UkeGuide rating out of 5 possible ukuleles. So let's begin. In terms of cost, if you want to buy a new one of these, they're $13.45. That's kind of the going price that I see. And Kamaka really sets that price. So there are a few companies that really, set the needle. Kala is one for a lot of instruments. What's the going price? What's expensive? What's not? Kala really sets that, being a large company. In this case, for a solid koa Hawaiian-made ukulele, Kamaka is going to set that value for most people. In addition, with that, used, it looks like they're selling for about $1,100 to $1,150 for like a used model like this right now. Sometimes more, sometimes a lot more, sometimes less, but that just kind of gives you a ballpark figure in January of 2022. In terms of value, as I've already mentioned, this is the value, although new ones will also include a very nice Kamaka hard case as well. In terms of build quality, Kamaka has set the standard here too. This one actually does have a little bit of a spot on the heel where you can actually feel the joint, but the build quality is very good. We'll take a look at the inside here in just a second, but really, Kamaka is one of the companies that has sort of set that bar for quality. So the quality is very good. Now, I've even heard from like the ukulele site, Hawaiian Music Supply, that's a big vendor of Kamaka, that they have reject Kamakas too. It happens with every brand. So just because an ukulele is $1,000 or more doesn't mean that you won't potentially have problems with that ukulele. But this one is pretty lovely altogether on the outside and on the inside. You can see that seam a little bit and feel that seam a little bit. I don't know if that's age or if that's just the way that it's always been. That's pretty much the only thing that I feel on the instrument in terms of quality. Otherwise, it's just a gorgeous, flawless instrument on the outside. So let's go take a look on the inside. All right, let's go take a look at the inside of the ukulele here. Looking down right away, you can see the brace on the bottom. You can see the brace that holds the two halves together, another brace there. You can see the tail block. If you get a bit closer, you can see that it's got straight kerfing there. There is a support there, probably right underneath the bridge that goes across the entire body there. There you can see more of that straight kerfing across in there. And again, not much glue mess, which is what you'd expect for an instrument that's being built for many, many years from a very traditional ukulele company. So that's our look at the lower bout. Let's go take a look at the upper bout. All right, as we look at the upper bout, there is our neck block, and you can see more of the straight kerfing that's used on the inside there. And looking up here, you can see the bracing up there as well, and more of the straight kerfing. So overall, a very clean build on this handcrafted Kamaka white label ukulele. That's probably more towards 2001 than it is 1969, but they built them the same for many, many years. Okay, so it's really well built on the inside as well, which wouldn't surprise you. And especially today, if you looked at one of the new ones today, you'd expect that quality for a $1,300 ukulele. In terms of appearance, it's gorgeous koa. Check out the koa there. And it's not super stripy or super flamed or anything, but it's beautiful wood. It's an actual koa fretboard. It's a koa bridge. I mean, it's gorgeous. And then, of course, the big attraction is the old traditional Kamaka logo, as well as that canoe sail headstock, or the Gumby headstock, as people call it. So it's plain, but boy, is it ever lovely. In terms of availability, they're readily available. You can buy a new one today from a number of vendors that have them in stock. To find used ones, you just need to look a little bit in various places, and they do pop up for sale. Now, in terms of playability, a couple things I just want to say. First of all, it is a 35 millimeter nut. So they've been around for a long time, 35 millimeter nuts. The neck has a wonderful shape. The action is super low on this one. Very easy to play. There is that bump that I can feel in the heel if you're going to be playing way up the neck, but I don't think that's true of all instruments. It's just true of this one right here that you can actually feel that. But otherwise, just lovely to play. Now, in terms of sound quality, it's incredible. It's balanced, it's warm and bright at the same time. It's got sustain, and the only thing I will say is the sustain, I think, is limited by the age of the strings. So when we put on different strings here, we're going to have a slightly different experience, I think, with sustain over time. You could also try something like fluorocarbons on it. That would work very well as well, I think. Kamakas have traditionally used a black nylon string, but I know a lot of people also use like Fremont blacks as well on the Kamaka series. So I would try, if it was mine, I would try some fluorocarbons just to see what it was like. And if I didn't like it, I'd go back to a black string of sorts to match more of the traditional look of it. Now, what I do in these reviews is I let you see what I'm hearing with the app Tonal Energy Tuner, which I am pulling up right now. And what I will do is play the C chord into my iPad and let you see what I am hearing. So while the sound is well balanced and it's all the way across the board, it doesn't have sparkle and shine right now, which I think, again, fluorocarbon strings might bring out, and it certainly has a lot of low sustain on the instrument. But it's just a gorgeous sound. Very traditional sound. It's not as loud as a Koloha. It's really well balanced. And it's seasoned koa. So this is, we always talk about instruments opening up over time. Well, this one has had a chance to open up. So perhaps you buy a new Kamaka and it won't have this full sound, but probably it will over time. All right, now that we've talked about the subjective categories, let's get into specifications. It is a concert instrument, and the scale length is 15.125 inches from nut to saddle. There are 16 frets with 12 to the body, and there's one single side position marker there. It is a traditional double bout ukulele. The soundboard is koa, the body is koa, the fretboard is koa and is not radius. The bridge is a slotted bridge, and it is made out of koa, and the nut and saddle appear to be made out of ebony, and it is not a compensated saddle. The finish appears to be a satin finish. It's 23.25 inches from the top of the canoe sail headstock to the tail. It weighs 1 pound, 0.1 ounces, so it's very, very light. It has currently friction tuners that are kind of large and actually a little bit unattractive. So I think it's going to look really nice with those UPTs on it. The action at the first fret is really low, 0.25 millimeters. And the action at the 12th fret is 1.75 millimeters. So even though it's really low action, there's no buzzing, plays incredibly well, very, very easy to play, especially bar chords up the neck and even at the nut because of that low action. The nut width is 35.15 millimeters, and the space between the strings has been maximized here. So you don't have a lot of room between the first and fourth strings going to the edge of the instrument, but it's 9.31 millimeters between each string at the first fret, and that's 30.96, almost 31 millimeters from G to A. So they've really maximized the amount of space that you get on that 35 millimeter nut. Now this is where it gets really amazing. This neck shape is wonderful. And it does make you wonder if they, Kamaka is making this model with that white label from 1969 to 2001, and they were making this neck for all those years. Why didn't the import companies model their neck at some point off of this? This is wonderful to play, and it's extremely comfortable. It's not C-shaped, it's more D-shaped, and it's only 18.52 millimeters from the top of the from the tops of the strings at the third fret to the bottom of the neck. That's really thin and lovely and comfortable to play. So it does make me wonder why the other companies, when this was one of the templates that many other companies used, why they weren't copying that or trying to imitate that in some ways. And I doubt that that neck shape itself is patented in such a way, and why we have these baseball bat sort of C-shaped necks today. I don't know. All right, now that we've gone over the specifications of the instrument, let's summarize it and give it a full UkeGuide review. Again, this is a very special ukulele. You just can't walk everywhere into a store and just buy one of these. You will find them used, but otherwise, if you want a Kamaka like this, you have to visit an ukulele specialist. My friend wants to get some UPTs on there, the Goto UPTs, the ukulele planetary tuners, which change the function of the instrument. And it's not really untrue to Kamaka because that's what they currently install as well. So if you buy a Kamaka today, you get the Gotos installed on it. Unfortunately, as a white label Kamaka, you don't get a date for this. It was made somewhere between 1969 and 2001. The current HF-2 is very similar, but it would have, gloss finish. It would have the UPT tuners. It would come with a nice case. This is made of all koa. Koa bridge, koa fretboard, koa body. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. And it's an heirloom. So if you own something like this, this is something that if you take care of it, should last generations and generations and generations. Some will question the purchase of a $1350 ukulele. I get that. If you're happy buying a $60 Amazon ukulele and that being your ukulele for life, that's great. But there's something great about this heritage, and if you like a concert and you like the playing experience, and this is your primary instrument and your very special treasure, there's nothing wrong with buying one of these. There's nothing to feel guilty about for buying a quality instrument. And remember, many guitars start in that general price range. So we're not looking at something like crazy here to have an instrument like this. And you get that legacy of owning a very special instrument made by one of the very oldest ukulele companies in the world. And there's a reason why they've been around for more than 100 years, because they sound great and they last and they're beautiful, and it's just an amazing instrument to be able to review for you today. So wonderful sound, wonderful playing experience, highly, highly recommended. So if you would want one of these and you've got the finances to do it, or it's something that you want to save up for, absolutely, highly, highly recommended. So what rating would I give this out of 5? I would give it a 5 out of 5. Personally, I would want one with UPT tuners just because I'm not such a fan of friction tuners. They work, they're fine, but I like other solutions that exist today. I would like the nice Kamaka hard case that come with these, and I might even like to see someday if I can buy one of these. That's the 100th anniversary model as well in the concert, because concert is my scale. So it's a 5 out of 5, no question about it. Yeah, and it really is at the value of what it is, because that, this is the prototype for all other koa Hawaiian ukuleles. So thanks for joining me on this video. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll be back soon with some more uke stuff for you.